All of the great entrepreneurs that you look up to, the books that you read about them, the YouTube videos that you watch about them, are constantly trying to find ways to add more revenue streams to their business. And this may come as no surprise to you, but I personally believe that Amazon FBA is one of the best side hustles that you still can be adding to your business if you haven't already in 2024. The playing field has never been more wide open and openly available to somebody to learn how to do it. Yes, it has become more competitive in the last couple years, but if anything, that's kind of a good thing for somebody like me because I'm willing to put in the effort to make this an actual business. And just because it becomes harder for the people that are kind of like half in, half out, wanting to start and make a quick buck, it's not like it used to be. This has to be a business that you put a lot of effort into and take very serious if you want to see the success that some of these other people are seeing. But with so many people looking into Amazon FBA, I wanted to break it down and talk about the things that you really need, in my opinion, to start an Amazon FBA business. If you talk to somebody who's trying to sell you on a course or who's just trying to make money off of you, they're going to make it seem very, very simple to jump in, which is true, it kind of is pretty easy to jump in, but if you expect to succeed at all, it's going to take probably a lot more effort than you think. So breaking it down past all the fluff, all the things that they may try to sell you on in order to start an FBA business, I broke it down to the 5 things that I think you truly have to have in order to be successful with it in 2024 this year. The first one is a desire to actually be in the business. Not a lot of people tell you this, but I don't have a course, so I can say this to you. Don't get into Amazon FBA if you aren't passionate about it. How do you figure out which category you fall into? Well, luckily for you, there's a website called YouTube where you can jump on and figure out just about anything you want to know about the business. Put the time in. I'm talking hours of videos. Watch people's content. You'd be surprised about how open they are about the business, the struggles of it, the wins of it. Really figure out on a day-to-day basis, what does it look like to be an Amazon FBA seller? Because I promise you, it's not waking up, checking your phone and seeing all the sales roll in. I know that, you know there's a real business to it. So figure out what an Amazon FBA seller's day-to-day looks like, what problems they go through, what hurdles they have to jump over, what does a win look like for that person, and figure out if that really is you. And if it's something that you'll be passionate about to push past all the hurdles, because there will be plenty of them, and see if it's a business you want to see yourself in long term. Second is the softwares. As much as you try to think that you can get around them, softwares are 100% necessary to have an Amazon FBA business today for multiple reasons. The first software that I highly recommend getting is your own personal business banking account. I personally use Novo. I've used them for a long time. I really like them. They're very straightforward, very simple UI, very easy to use. The main reason for this is you just want to have a place that you can separate your finances. Don't be dipping into your personal checking account in order to run your business. It's easier to keep things separate, particularly if you're starting an LLC. Just trust me, you want to be able to have a business bank account separate from your personal bank account, and Novo does a really good job of giving you a free business bank account. Second is an accounting software. I know there's ones like Bench that charge somewhat of a hefty fee, but offer an insane suite of services that are kind of like hands-off, and those are great if your profit margins allow you to subscribe to a software like that. But for new sellers, a great software that I can recommend is Wave. The thing about Wave is that it will do a great job of keeping track of all your expenses and all the things you need to keep track of for taxes and just to make sure you're profitable in general. However, there's no done for you service here. You are going to have to make sure that you're doing a good job of staying on top of things, staying organized, and keeping your accounting software in order so that when tax season comes up or you're trying to see your profit and loss at the end of the year, that everything just doesn't look like a huge mess. Another software you're definitely going to need to use is a product research software. My 2 favorites are Helium 10 and Smart Scout. You can check my previous videos. I talk a little bit about those and how I use them in particular with product research. But trust me when I tell you this, product research is the #1 most important aspect of Amazon FBA, and you do not want to go without a proper research tool. Another software that you're going to want to look into is a PPC and inventory tracking software like Sellerboard, or one that I found more recently that I really like is Junglytics. They do a really good job of tracking PPC and how to make sure you're staying profitable and not overspending on any of your campaigns, as well as being able to track your inventory, seeing what's going out, when you're going to need to make reorders, as well as being able to track the profitability of each of your products. And finally, another software that you may want to look into is a product listing optimization software. One that I recommend is something like Shoelix, which gives you the opportunity to implement a little bit of AI into figuring out how to best optimize your product listing to keep it competitive in the market and possibly even find ways to beat out your competition. Shoelix does a really good job of integrating data scraping and AI to be able to figure out what your competitors are doing wrong and be able to give you ideas on what you can improve to be able to give yourself more of a foothold in the market. I'll leave links down to these softwares down below in case you want to check them out. But let's move on to number 3. And that is that no matter what people tell you, Amazon FBA is just one of those businesses that requires a little bit of startup capital in order to make it work. How you get that capital, completely up to you. But in my personal opinion, I think you need about $2,000. I've said this before, for each product launch, and that's before PPC hits. Let me tell you why. First and foremost is going to be softwares. Almost all the softwares that I just mentioned are going to require some type of monthly fee to use them. It's just the cost of doing business. If you're not willing to put out a little bit of money in order to try to get some back, I think you're gonna have a really hard time in this business. So just plan on that. Like I said, about $2,000. On top of that, you're going to want to order samples of whatever product you're trying to launch, and samples are necessary. You don't want to spend on an order of like 300 to 500 to 1,000 or more units on something that you've never seen or held in your hand before, because you have no idea what it's really going to look like. And that would be a massive waste of money if something comes to the Amazon warehouse and customers start getting it and it's not up to your standards. Just trust me, it's a nightmare. Get a sample. The next reason you're gonna need that money for startup is by far the most money-sucking portion of this whole process, and that is purchasing your inventory. Now, depending on the price point of your product and the amount that you're ordering, your payout here is going to range widely. You could spend $500 to get 300 units, or you could spend $10,000 to get 500 to 700 units. It all depends on the price point of your product. Just to be able to give you whole numbers for this example, I've typically found that anything that you're trying to deal with around the $30 price point, as in you're selling it for around $30 on Amazon, typically those products fall within the budget of where you're going to need this $2,000 for startup. That's just kind of what I'm ranging it on. In case you're wondering, that's about the ballpark I'm giving you this $2,000 for. If you're looking to sell a product that is above that $30 mark, that's when you may need to increase the amount of money that you have saved up to invest into your round of inventory. Fourth is marketing. There's a lot of different ways to market your product, and this is all just besides PPC advertising. But my advice is to put some money aside just in case, so that you can spend it on TikTok or on Instagram or with Amazon influencers to be able to promote your product. Because beyond that is PPC advertising, which is kind of a different beast in and of itself. There are simple ways to launch PPC campaigns. You can launch low budget automatic campaigns, very simple manual campaigns, product targeting campaigns, and you can spend less on those to test them out, but you're really not going to see any major jumps or really affect your sales velocity in a huge way unless you really start to spend on PPC. And as somebody who runs a PPC management agency, I will say it's typical that you're going to be able to see your ad spend really start to make a difference once you start spending $1,000 or more in PPC advertising per month. Now, don't go ahead and just jump out and do this from the beginning. I do recommend a slow build sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, because if you've never launched a PPC campaign before and you just jump in blindly and throw darts and see what sticks and put $1,000 on it, chances are you're probably not going to be profitable with that money. Because on top of that, in order to see optimization of your PPC campaigns, even with professionals, sometimes it may take 2 to 3 months in order to be able to see your PPC campaign start to turn profitable for you. And that's just the process of really narrowing down and optimizing with these campaigns. It does take time. Anybody that tells you that they're launching immediately successful campaigns right from the go is either getting really lucky or lying to you. Number 4 is to take a coaching course. Please do this. Take it from me. I don't have a coaching course, but I would say that the number one thing that attributes to any success that I have in this business comes from the coaching course, whether it be the direct communication that I have with my mentor, the people in the Facebook group, the live calls that I'm on every single week, the successes that I'm seeing other people have that I'm taking things and learning from, the direct help that I'm getting from that group. It is an absolute game changer, trust me. And yes, of course, I have an affiliate link to the course that I'm in. I'll leave that down below, but do your research. Nothing is going to help you unless you find a mentor that you vibe with, that you really think fits your teaching style or your way of learning. You got to be able to trust that person. And once you get that combination of a really good coach and mentor who you really vibe with, who you understand, and you understand the way that they teach, great things can happen. This business can be very confusing, but there's no better way to shorten the learning curve than by learning from somebody who has already done it and who is currently being successful in that business. You don't want to be taking these courses from people that have just maybe launched a product or two and then built a course around the whole process. You want somebody who is in the trenches still, selling on Amazon, currently launching products, and being able to give you up-to-date advice on the current state of the business. And number 5 is to hire a PPC management agency. You probably saw this coming with me mentioning that I have a PPC management agency, but before you click away, let me tell you why. There's a reason that an ad buyer is a professional job in and of itself. I've been one before at another agency where my job was simply just to manage ads, and the reason for that is because it can get very complicated very quickly, especially if you want to start scaling up and making sure you're getting the most out of your advertising campaigns. There's a skill to it. There's a learning curve to that as well. So if you have the time and the energy to be able to run your Amazon FBA business and fully dive into PPC advertising, by all means do it. There's plenty of people that do. But if you want to shorten that time and be able to just focus on what you love about the business, which is probably your product, your marketing for it, your listing, selling and growing that product on Amazon, and then leaving the PPC advertising to professionals who have been doing it for years and have been seeing success for years with it, that's where an agency comes into play, particularly my agency, where it is a complete done-for-you service. We want to just handle it for you. We don't want you to have to worry about that side of your business. We will be fully transparent with you along the way about what is going on with your campaigns, what's happening, teaching you along the way, giving you notifications about what's working and what's not working, what changes and optimizations are being made, and listening to any feedback that you give us. But the purpose in handing that off is so that you can focus on growing your Amazon FBA business in the ways that you're passionate about. I'll leave the link down to my agency below. If you're not a PPC expert, please just give us a try and see if we can help you grow your business. But that's it. That's everything that I personally think that you really need to know in order to start an Amazon FBA business. Enough people have told you about it by now. You wouldn't be clicking on this video if you weren't at least interested. So there's my thoughts. Do with it as you will. I hope you do start a business. I hope you go and crush it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like down below if I provided any value to you, and I'll see you in the next one.